Welcome to Scatter Travel TV. Today we are on part 2 of traveling to Rome. In the last video of part 1 of Rome, we talked about how to get around in Rome, places to eat, the transportation system itself. We talked a little bit about the Coliseum and what there is to see there and why you should take a tour. The Coliseum is beautiful. Be sure that you see it at both in the daytime and in the evening. I would like to go on from the Coliseum and talk about that there are some ruins on either side of the Coliseum. On one side is a whole series of ruins that are up there that are baths, and it's again quite an area for you to go around and see. On the opposite side of the Coliseum is a very small set of ruins that are actually have been excavated from below ground level. So you might want to walk over that way, and while you're walking that way, we found one of our favorite restaurants that we ate in. We had gotten quite spoiled by then and decided that we loved the street restaurants. Each day they would come out and they would build out into the area where they would parallel park or park cars, and at nights there would be restaurants out there. And so they had these little platforms that they'd build out in the street and then put their tables and umbrellas under. Or on top of. So it was a really fun thing to sit out at night. It was good weather, and you could sit out there and eat and just see the people coming and going, and that was really awesome. But we went to a restaurant. It was about a block away from the Coliseum, so it was definitely within walking distance. I'd say 5 to 10 minute walk from the Coliseum. It was called Lucy's, Luzzi, and it was a pizza pasta restaurant. It was on Via di San Giovanni in Latino is the name of the street. And so I would encourage you to go to this restaurant. It was really fun. One of the things that we really enjoyed there was watching the pizza be made. The pizzas there are made with a crust that is soft in the middle but crunchy on the outsides. They are done in wood fire ovens, and you can watch them make them right there. The guy sits out there and he will make those pizza dough go into the circular thin circles, and then he slides them into the wood oven, and you can watch them. They just make these big bubbles, and they bubble up and they crisp, and it is just cool to watch just even the bubbling and the crisping of the pizza. And then they pull them out and serve them. We had pizza and we had lasagna. The lasagna was just wonderful. I just can't say enough of how much we enjoyed the food at this restaurant. The bread, the salad. Make sure you get the mixed salad. It was fabulous. Make sure that you have, maybe each of you order of pizza and one order of lasagna so you can try all the food. They have these really cool check tablecloths, and you sit out there. There's also an indoor sitting area if it is too hot, too cold, or bad weather. So there is an indoor sitting area as well. This is, like I said, it's a whole experience in itself. Sometimes in these Italian restaurants, the service takes a little bit longer because the idea is to enjoy. So if you're in a hurry, be sure to tell them that, and then they will make sure that they serve you in a timely manner. We thoroughly enjoyed this restaurant. Again, I would highly recommend this restaurant to you when you are in that area. The next thing that we went to as we walked home, so we walked back to the apartment that we had rented. It was quite a distance. We probably walked 20 minutes or more, maybe 30 minutes to get back. But one of the funniest things I saw was I hadn't noticed gas stations, and here is why. We're walking along the street, and all of a sudden, we look over, and a car pulls over on the side like he was going to park on the side, and we look over, and he's getting gas. The gas pumps are right on the sidewalk, so you just pull over, get your gas, and pull out. It's not like there's a building with it. There's just gas pumps. But there is an attendant that stands right there by the pumps, and he fills the gas for them. So no building, but an attendant to help you. I thought that that was really kind of an interesting thing that we ran into in Italy that I hadn't run into before. Another thing I would highly recommend is taking the hop-on, hop-off bus system in order to get to the different things that you want to go sightseeing to. They have it very well done there, and there's actually a city tour bus that does an audio tour while you're going that is cheaper than your standard sightseeing buses that you'll see. So check for that and see if that is an option that you would like to take. That's what we took, and one of the main stops that it goes to that I would encourage you to go to is to Vatican City. Vatican City is also known as the Holy See. There are two main attractions that I really enjoyed there, and one is the St. Peter's Cathedral, of course, and then the Vatican Museums, which hold a myriad of things that we'll talk about. Some of the things that would make your time at Vatican City much easier because it is such a large place, and thousands of visitors come. In fact, it's really funny because there's always more visitors there than there are people that live in Vatican City. There's about 1,000 people that actually live in the city, and they get thousands and thousands of tourists that come. Because these videos that I make are short, I am going to, while I am giving you hints and tips about visiting Vatican City, I'm going to go ahead and just start putting pictures up of the museum and of the St. Peter's Cathedral so that you can have time to at least look at the pictures while I'm telling you about the area. That being said, because of that, when you want to go there, if you don't make arrangements ahead of time and you just show up and you get your ticket there and you stand in line, it's going to be sometimes up to 3 and 4 hours wait in line. And if it's a sunny, hot day, that can get really uncomfortable. So knowing how to do that, I think, is really important for you. You can pre-buy tickets online, which will then allow you to go to the area where tickets have already been purchased rather than waiting in the ticket line where you're going to purchase them. You can buy fast-track access passes that will take you to the front of, or, to a faster line to get through. You can also there's private tours that you can take or group tours that you can go with, and those get moved to the front of the line as well. So obviously you don't really want to just show up. You really want to either pre-purchase a tour or your tickets ahead of time. When you get there, if there's a long line, make sure it's the one that you should be in so that you don't wait all that time and then find out that that isn't the one that you need to be in. There are certain days that might be better for you to visit the Vatican than others, depending on what you're going there to see. If you're going there to see the museums, then Wednesdays, I would go in the mornings for sure, because it really takes quite a long time to go through all of the museums. There's a huge amount of collections there, and they're very interesting, so you'll be there a long time. Also, the mornings usually before the tour groups show up are really good, except on Wednesdays because the Pope is there, and sometimes that makes it so that then you can't get into see the St. Peter's Sistine Chapel. So, if you're wanting to see that too, you might avoid Wednesdays. If you do want to go and see the Pope and just be able to see him and be, in the same area that he's in, on Sunday at noon, he comes out and he'll appear from the window of his apartment, and he gives a short speech and an apostolic blessing. And, that's something that might be very special to you, and so that would be on Sunday. Other than that, I would just suggest that you get your tickets ahead of time or arrange for a tour ahead of time and have things prearranged. A couple of things that you might want to take with you that will make your time there more comfortable would be sure to take some water with you, because if you're waiting in line and it's a long time, you'll want to do that. Make sure that you have visited a restroom before you get in a line and you're stuck there. Also, an umbrella makes for nice shade if it's sunny or if it's raining. So those are some things that might make your wait in line a little nicer. I was really impressed with how they catered to people with disabilities or handicap. You can go there and make arrangements ahead of time, a day or so ahead of time. Call and tell them that you need a wheelchair, and they are free, and you can arrange to have a wheelchair. Also, if you have your own, or whether you've arranged for that, if you have disabilities, you can make arrangements to get in early, and don't wait in line. If you have disabilities or in a wheelchair, they will cater to you. You will get taken right to the front of the line. You do not have to wait in line. I thought that was just marvelous. So make sure if you go there, and that's the case, that you move right on up. Contact one of the people that are standing there that are there to help the visitors, and they will make sure that you get right to the front of the line. I thought that it was really fun to see that the Swiss Guard guards Vatican City. So you're going to see those lovely little soldiers standing there guarding. There's about 4 million people that visit each year. If you go and you're going to do a self-tour, I do believe that you have to go through to get into St. Peter's or into the Sistine Chapel. You've got to go through the museums first. So you will have to have a museum ticket and go through that prior to going into the St. Peter's Cathedral. If you're going to self-tour, know that you will need to do that. The museum has some of the most wonderful works of art. One of my favorite areas was the Egyptian section. It has the artifacts in there, statues and different things from Egypt. Egypt is one of my favorite countries that I have ever been to. And so I was fascinated by all of the artifacts that they had that were there for you to see. It almost felt like you were in Egypt. There's also areas in there that had rugs, that tapestries that had been preserved over the ages. The paintings on the ceilings were fabulous. It felt like you were in a cathedral, and so the whole thing just makes you feel like everything you're seeing is very special. There's a room of just statues. This is probably one of the most famous religious and historical museums in the world. You should definitely take time to see them. You will enjoy them. They have every kind of artwork that is imaginable there from the time periods that's shown. This is also a religious site. You must have respect for that. Use your quiet voices. Be polite. It is against the law to touch the artwork. If you touch it, it is monitored by cameras and alarms. There are certain things that you cannot bring into the museums or into St. Peter's Cathedral. There is a place, it's like a cloak check place that you can check in large backpacks. If you have food and drink, especially alcohol is not allowed. If you have, things like knives and things that you can't take in most places, you will have to go through a metal detector going in. So be sure to check those items ahead of time, and then you'll be able to collect them that same day. As far as photography goes, it's forbidden to use any kind of flash photography or lighted photography in the museums. And in the Sistine Chapel, you won't be allowed to do any photography whatsoever. And if you do, they are authorized to take it away. So be sure that you follow the rules. One of the other things that you need to be respectful and know that will happen is that you are not allowed to go in without appropriate clothing. That means that if you're in your bikini top, you might not be allowed to go in. So go dressed as you would to a place that, you should show respect for. It is the house of God. It is a place of religion. So keep that in mind when you go there. Again, make sure that you see this. This is a very special place in the world to come and see. If you have an opportunity, whether you belong to the Catholic Church or not, this is something that is a very special experience for anyone who takes the time to go there. Please join us again for Travel to Rome Part 3, which we are going to go to the Spanish Step and to the place where you throw the coin over your shoulder, some of the other fun places that there is to see and things to do in Rome. Join us at www.scattertravel.tv. You can get hints and tips that will make your vacations easier. We have several products that I have tested myself and used in travel. I'd love to share those with you as Scatter Travel TV.